Perfect. Hi, everyone. I'm Dylan Kugler from the Starknet Foundation, and today I'm excited to talk with you about a bold new vision for gaming, one where games aren't just built, but truly live on-chain. In this presentation, we'll explore how native game structures on Starknet are setting the stage for a future of transparent and community-driven gaming. Now is the best time to build a crypto game. The gaming industry is at a turning point. Technology, market trends, and player expectations are aligning in a way we've never seen before. The shift isn't just about better graphics or new gameplay mechanics. It's about fundamentally rethinking how games are owned, played, and sustained. Looking back, gaming has always evolved in different waves. We've seen the rise of arcade gaming, home consoles, online multiplayer, and mobile games. Each phase has unlocked new possibilities and expanded the gaming frontier. Today, we stand on the verge of the next major shift, fully on-chain games. So the evolution of blockchain, particularly rollups, and scalability solutions like Starknet have unlocked possibilities that were previously not possible. These advancements are not just incremental improvements. They represent a fundamental shift in how games are built, played, and sustained. But innovation isn't just about technology. It's about people. Right now, we see an unmatched level of enthusiasm in the fully on-chain game community. Builders, developers, and players who believe in this vision are actively shaping the future of gaming. And before jumping into my vision for fully on-chain games and where gaming fits into the broader crypto environment, it's important to highlight what makes Starknet the ideal environment for them. Rollups emerge to provide scalability, but this can mean many different things. They exist to address non-functional requirements such as high transaction throughput, minimal congestion, and low transaction fees that many applications, and specifically games, desire. This is where Starknet and Cairo excel. Let's take a little step back, though. Blockchain environments can operate on both a global and a local scale, with regionality becoming a crucial design consideration. This decision involves trade-offs that vary based on the application's specific context and user requirements. In DeFi applications, global context is typically preferred. All users should interact with the same price feeds. It would be counterproductive for users in Korea to trade an asset at a different rate than someone in the United States. This regional deployment factor introduces additional complexity for game developers. On Starknet, solutions like Madara and Katana provide the flexibility to support both global and localized experiences. In practice, a regional deployment just refers to which data center hosts the game instance, ensuring that players connect to the closest server for optimal performance. Each of these deployments functions as an independent game world. Players will seamlessly connect to the world nearest to them. However, these worlds can still share global game state when needed. For example, a dungeon run or a battle royale instance may operate within a local instance, but can share its results globally once the event concludes. So here is the interesting part. Multiple game instances can create block space markets that are optimized for regional needs. These block space markets would all be isomorphic to each other and can then share an aggregation layer to create the global context necessary to meet other end user requirements, like a global in-game asset trading layer. Here's one of my favorite games of the past. RuneScape is a very good example of a game that balances regional and global gaming needs. Players choose local servers for better performance, but can access a shared global economy. This mirrors how modern app chains on Starknet can work. Multiple regional block space markets optimized for local use with a shared layer for global features. Users can benefit from a complex system without seeing the intricacies behind it. Okay, so for the rest of the presentation, I don't have the screen up in front of me, so I'm continuing to look back to make sure the slide goes through. But anyway, for the rest of the presentation, I'll focus a little bit on why I think gaming is the ideal environment to push this forward. My thesis is that crypto-native games will be at the forefront of application design. The gaming industry has historically been an early adopter and proving ground for new technologies, often catalyzing broader technical advancements. This trend will continue for several reasons. The first one is low-stakes innovation. Gaming provides a sandbox for rapid iteration and experimentation without severe real-world consequences. This allows developers to push boundaries freely. The second one is technical demands. Games require cutting-edge hardware and software, and they continuously have driven advancements in both. For example, gaming demands have propelled GPU development, which has benefited fields like AI and computing. And then finally, early adoption. Gamers are often willing to embrace new technologies, which accelerates broader adoption of that tech. We've seen this with virtual reality and motion controls, which found their first home in gaming before spreading to other applications. So as we push the boundaries of crypto in gaming, we're not just creating new entertainment experiences, we're potentially shaping how people will interact with each other across all domains. Most importantly, the intuitive interfaces and engaging experiences developed for fully on-chain games will be the key to driving wider acceptance across other verticals as well, which compounds over time. This makes gaming a critical and necessary frontier that will likely yield innovations that will influence the entire crypto ecosystem. Okay, fully on-chain games unlock numerous possibilities native to blockchain technology. One of the most compelling use cases is the creation of permanent worlds that exist entirely on-chain and ensure that game state and assets persist regardless of server issues or company decisions. Additionally, censorship resistance means that no central authority can arbitrarily shut down or alter the game. The open nature of blockchain ensures that transparent and verifiable mechanics create an unprecedented level of trust in gaming. For players, this brings a radical shift to their relationship with the game. True asset ownership is the cornerstone here. Players aren't just renting or borrowing in-game items, they truly own them as tokens or NFTs. So this ownership is obviously inherently financial and extends beyond the game itself, but it gives players a real stake and impact in the world. So their actions, both positive and negative, have genuine consequences, which lead to deeper and more immersive relationships with the game world. And then finally, we have permissionless extension, which I think is the most exciting aspect for fully on-chain games. We'll talk about it a little bit more, but basically this just creates an open system for user-generated content that far surpasses traditional gaming capabilities. Players can freely build upon existing game logic and assets that create evolving digital ecosystems. So when you combine these unlocks, you create a self-reinforcing feedback loop. Enhanced player engagement leads to longer game lifespans and a more dedicated community. In turn, this community helps drive innovation and continuous growth. In a cycle, it's a cycle. Once that sets in motion, it can sustain and propel the game's evolution further than what's possible in traditional gaming. That is the definition of true retention. So the transition from Web 2 to Web 3 gaming isn't just about adding blockchain features. It's a complete reimagining of the player-developer relationship. Web 2 games operate under centralized control. Developers own all assets, dictate game rules, and players have no real stake in the ecosystem. In contrast, fully on-chain games enable true asset ownership, persistent open economies, community-driven governance, where players have a real say in shaping game mechanics, economies, and rules. So again, this isn't just an upgrade. It's a fundamental shift in digital economies and transforms games into self-sustaining decentralized worlds. In this landscape, your community becomes the most important force, driving user acquisition and fueling engagement. It creates a self-sustaining ecosystem where community contributions form continuous expansion and innovation. The beauty of the cycle is that every phase reinforces the next, creating a robust and self-sustaining environment where innovation can flourish continuously. This is just a playful reminder that a self-sustaining digital ecosystem grows organically from its community. When players are given the power to contribute and innovate, the entire system becomes more dynamic and engaging. Yeah, so I was talking a little bit about this in terms of permissionless extension, but I want to dive deeper into it. On-chain game logic unlocks unlimited potential for modifications and expansions. Permissionless extension is the heart of on-chain gaming. It means that any player or developer can extend and modify the game without needing a central authority's permission. Unlike traditional games, where mods remain confined to local environments, Player-created content on blockchain games become an integral part of the core global experience. These games allow extensive customization through smart contracts and actually mirrors the composability we see in DeFi protocols today. This means that modifications are not just cosmetic or limited to individual player experiences. They can fundamentally alter the game's mechanics and economy on a global scale. So how do we think about this? Again, in traditional games, modding happens at the edges. It's tolerated to an extent, but not truly integrated into the game's core experience. Fully on-chain games, mods don't just add features, they reshape the game itself. Imagine a scenario where a guild of players creates a new in-game currency that gets widely adopted, or a player-designed quest system becomes a central part of a game, or a game starts where another game ends, forming interconnected worlds. These aren't just modifications, they're player-driven evolutions of the game itself. When users can fundamentally alter and expand a game's mechanics, their investment in the game world deepens significantly. Again, they're not just playing a game, they're co-creating a living, evolving digital universe. As these systems mature, they introduce challenges that extend beyond game design. To build a sustainable world, we have to consider various different things, like economic policies. We have to manage in-game asset supply to ensure fair play and long-term balance, monetization strategies, treasury management, IP governance. We have to think about how we define how user-generated content is actually licensed and protected. So again, this isn't just about designing a fun experience. It's about creating resilient, adaptive economies that align the interests of developers, players, and investors for the long haul. And with that, you have to realize that it's crucial to understand that the goal of a game economy should not only be about user acquisition, but also to retain dedicated and loyal community members. This goes for games, but goes for every other project in the world too. To achieve this and create a sustainable game, we need to balance incentives across all the stakeholders. Developers need revenue share and token rewards to keep innovating. Players demand true asset ownership and a say in governance. And investors look for ecosystem growth and token value appreciation. If we can align these incentives, we'll create a balanced system that encourages long-term participation and success. So economic sustainability and growth occur when the value entering a system exceeds the value leaving it. This is just basic game design, and frankly, basic economics 101 as well. In game design, the balance is this economic balance is managed through mechanisms known as sinks and faucets. We can use Axie as a good example. Sinks take supply from the economy. For example, SLP is burned through Axie breeding fees, but breeding is good because players are able to build stronger teams and achieve higher rewards. Then we have faucets, which are mechanisms that add assets to the economy. For example, SLP is earned from completing quests or battles. If faucets contribute more than sinks, the increasing supply will exert downward pressure on assets over time. This is where you really need to start thinking about your tokenomics and your economy. I want to take a look beyond the immediate future and consider the full potential of what we are building towards. As I've been saying throughout this presentation, we are working towards autonomous worlds that function as self-sustaining, player-driven ecosystems. These aren't just games in the traditional sense, but living, breathing digital universes that evolve based on the collective actions and decisions of their inhabitants and players. In this future, we'll see a blurring of lines between what we now consider separate entities. Games, social platforms, and economic systems will all blur and become one. The gameplay and narratives that are created in this world will become emergent and will be driven by player interactions rather than pre-scripted events. Then we have user-generated content, which will be an integral part of the ecosystems that are created and key to game longevity and user retention. Crucially, these digital universes will offer real-world value and opportunities. Your actions and achievements in the game world will have tangible benefits beyond the confines of the game itself. And then finally, these will be persistent, evolving digital universes. Just like in the real world, events will unfold, cultures will develop, and histories will be written, all driven by the collective actions of the player base. However, to reach this endgame, we have some challenges to overcome. We need to pave the way by simplifying on-chain interactions, making them as seamless and user-friendly as possible. We have to reduce onboarding friction to make these worlds accessible to a broader audience. We then need to better integrate governance and social structures into core gameplay, making participation in these systems a natural and engaging part of the player experience. We should aim to democratize the creative aspects of world building, giving players the tools they need to shape their digital environment. And then lastly, we have to leverage cutting-edge technologies like zero-knowledge proofs and artificial intelligence to enhance on-chain capabilities and push beyond the boundaries of what is possible today in these digital worlds. This vision of the future is ambitious, but it's one we're actively working towards with every advancement in blockchain gaming on Starknet. By addressing these challenges and continuing to innovate, we're not just creating games. We're building the foundation for the next evolution of digital interaction, creativity, and community. I want to emphasize that the Starknet Foundation is here to support a diverse range of games and projects. Oh no, it disappeared. Anyway, there it is. Okay. We're not only pushing the boundaries of what is possible, but also gathering insight that benefits for the entire ecosystem. Whether through technical support, community building, or funding, we're committed to accelerating the future of on-chain gaming. So I invite you to join us, whether or not you're a developer, investor, or just an enthusiastic gamer. Thank you, and have a great time in Denver.
She smirks mid-flight.